Hello, boys and girls. I miss you guys, and I hope you and your families are doing well. Today's lesson is going to be about our wonderful, marvelous brains, and we're going to talk a little bit about where our feelings come from and learn how we can use our brain to help us control our feelings. So, if you'll remember last year, I did several lessons about this. And we learned that there's two parts of our brains. One we call the upstairs part of our brain, and the other we call the downstairs part of our brain. We're going to start off talking about the downstairs part of our brain because that's where all our emotions are. Okay? And for you older kids, our emotions mostly come from what we call the amygdala, and that's in the limbic system part of our brain. Well, so we've been talking about feelings like happy, mad, sad, scared, all those emotions. They are all in the downstairs part of our brain. But there's also another really important part of our brain downstairs that is our what we call our survival skills. And that is called our fight, flight, and freeze reactions or responses. And how fight, flight, and freeze help us is it's just a part of our brain that protects us, and it's automatic, and we can't control it. It just is. It's just automatic. It's on what we call like autopilot. Okay. So let me give you an example of the fight response. Okay. Whenever we think or feel like we might be in danger, our heart starts beating faster, we start breathing faster, and our brain starts making a hormone called adrenaline, and adrenaline pumps through our body to energize our body. And the fight, flight, and freeze part is what we do with that energy. So, one of our reactions might be to fight off danger. So, if we say that we're walking down a street in our neighborhood and a dog runs towards us and he's growling and he looks like he's going to bite us, our first reaction, our heart's going to beat faster, we're going to start breathing fast, and we're going to have all this energy, and we may use that energy to fight the dog off. We might put our hands up, we might kick our leg out. That's what we call the fight response to protect ourselves. Okay. The example of the flight response in another situation, maybe we're out walking on a trail, walking somewhere, and we think we hear something in the woods, and we start feeling scared. So our heart starts beating faster, we start breathing faster, our body makes adrenaline, it gives us energy, and instead of fighting something because we don't even see it or know what it is, we flee or run. That's the flight response. These are all parts of our brain that are automatic, okay? So that's the flight response. And then finally, we have the freeze response. The freeze response is where, again, something is so overwhelming or scary, instead of fighting or fleeing and running, maybe we just freeze. We use all our energy to hold our body still and freeze. And I can think of an example when I had the freeze response. One time I was taking pictures and I was walking on a trail and I came up to a huge longhorn. If you've ever seen one kind of close, they're really, really big. And so when I was walking down the trail, I came around the corner and I saw this longhorn and I just froze. I mean, I was so shocked that I couldn't even move my body. I just froze. And so then what I did is I just quietly backed off, turned around, and then walked back in another direction towards my car. So that response helped keep me safe because I was able to keep myself still so he didn't see me. And then I was able to get out of the situation. So our fight, flight, and our freeze are there to help us and keep us safe and protect us, but sometimes it can work against us or cause us problems instead of helping us. For example, say that you are outside playing and one of your friends runs up behind you, you didn't know they were there, and they yell. You might turn around because your heart's going to be beating faster, you're going to be breathing faster, your adrenaline's pumping, and maybe you sling your arm around and end up hitting them. But it's not on purpose, it's because they scared you, and that was your reaction from fight, flight, or freeze. Okay? So, fight, flight, and freeze response are downstairs, along with our other emotions like happy, mad, sad, scared. Okay? So, they're all in the downstairs part of our brain. What we want to learn how to do is to regulate or be in control of our emotions so that they help us, not cause us more problems. And that's where we use the upstairs part of our brain, also called the cerebral cortex. That's the top part of our brain. And we're going to be learning about the part right up front. It's called the prefrontal cortex for you older kids, but we'll just call it the upstairs brain. Okay? The upstairs part of our brain is our problem solving thinking part of our brain. And when we're in fight, flight, and freeze mode, we're not in our thinking part of our brain, we're in our reacting part of our brain. And when we have very strong emotions, we're not in our thinking part of our brain, we're in our reacting part of our brain. So I have some puppet friends. I have fight, flight, and freeze. And then I also have some characters, puppet friends that are going to be teaching us some ways to deal with our strong emotions so that our behaviors help us and don't make the situation worse. The first puppet's going to be, I call her Calming Clarissa, and she's going to teach us some ways to help us calm down. And we've learned some ways. These are not going to be necessarily something you haven't heard before, but it will be a good reminder of some things we can do to help us when we're at home, when we're having some of these strong emotions. We also have problem solving Penelope. And once we do get our bodies and our minds calm, she's going to teach us how to think through a problem. She's also going to talk about some of the Kelso's strategies that we've used to help us solve problems at school. You can use these strategies to solve problems at home too. And then we have Relaxation Rex. Relaxation Rex is going to teach us how to relax our bodies. Because if we have very strong emotions, a lot of time we're really stressed and we're tensed, and it's good and healthy for our body to learn how to relax. Just like last week when we were learning about the breathing exercises, we were imagining our problem or our feeling, and we were breathing in the warm air and thinking about, wow, that warm air is going to melt that problem away and I'm going to blow it out of my body. So Relaxation Rex is going to teach us some ways to relax and calm our body. And then we have Yoga Yani. Some of you probably do different kinds of exercises already. And so Yoga Yani is going to teach us maybe just a few yoga exercises or techniques. And I also have links on my website to some really cool mindfulness activities from Mindful Yeti on YouTube, and also from Cosmic Yoga Kids on YouTube. Some links to those YouTube videos that are exercises to help us relax our body. So next week we're going to hear from Calming Clarissa, and she's going to teach us some different ways to calm our body. And then the week after that, we'll just continue where all our puppet friends are going to share some different strategies and ways that we can learn to calm ourselves and help ourselves. Okay, so I have a song I would like you guys to learn about our brain and our feelings to help you remember the things that we're learning. Okay, it's called Our House, and I called it Our House because we're thinking of our upstairs and downstairs brain. I think of it like a house. Okay, so it's our house, in the middle of our brains, our house, where we learn and grow and play, our house. Fight, flight, freeze, keep us safe, our house. We solve problems lots of ways. So here's the words to it. You guys can learn it, and I hope if you like to sing, you can sing it too. So again, to review, we have two parts of the brains that we're going to be learning. our upstairs and our downstairs. The downstairs part of our brain is where our feelings and emotions are, as well as fight, flight, and freeze. The upstairs part of our brain is our problem solving thinking part of our brain. And that's where we learn how to solve problems. So I look forward to talking to you guys next week. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. I hope you've been able to get out in the sunshine, and I wish you well, and I will talk to you next week. Thank you. Bye.